Hello, good evening, everybody. Today I'm gonna introduce you some kind of tutorial about web developing. Feel like just about I'm gonna do some practical thing to understand you what's going on web developing in the front end design and the back end design of web developing, right? Okay. Now, first of all, I had to tell you that I had to see that my mind map about that the basically web UI and the database and the structure of server computing using the total server configuration with the UI. Okay, now the first layer we have built that web UI means the interface we are facing with that. Actually we are going to a website and there and like this, right? And this is the interface that we are facing with, right? And just that is using the UI, that means, right? Then we had to define and we had to learn how to design this, how to implement this web UI, right? And for those stuff we using HTML and HTML CSS and JavaScript mostly, right? And then this can be taken to design a web UI, that means a web page basically, that we are telling that web page, right? And HTML, CSS and JS, they just miss JavaScript. So the web UI design. So today I'm gonna show you the basic web UI design with HTML, CSS and actually not using JS. I'm building up the only the appearance, that means user interface only. That's not activated like from JS and things, right? Okay, now first of all we had to make our structure, basic structure using the HTML, right? And after that we can use CSS there to specify beautify our web page. Using CSS we can beautify and we can add different style works there using the CSS means that is cascading style sheet, right? Okay, now first of all we had to build this web UI and then it connect to a web server. Actually web server means the server, and we can take those both stuff together, and with we can implement it in a single PC, or we can divide them into 3 PC, right? And just also we can implement that web server and application server in one PC and giving the database server to another PC. Doesn't matter, right? It's based on the requirement of the company organization that we're asking for, right? Okay, the web server, that means Apache means that actually that the web UI directly interfacing with and just connecting with that web server, that means Apache. And actually that Apache that we are using WAMP Apache, right? And I'm using it. Yeah, WAMP Apache means WAMP Apache, right? WAMP Apache means that it's a freeware. Actually, it's a free server software that we're using for our prototyping works that we're studying educational purposes, like, and we are creating a web UIs and database and all of this stuff, and we can test it on our own PCs using the WAMP server, WAMP, and they're giving you all the features with that server side, right? Okay, and the web server and application server, that means if you are requesting something from the web UI and directly it hits that to a web server and just processing out something in that application server, and there are calculators and all things are included in there and the application server, right? And inside this we are coding PHP files here. Actually the backend side of the server computing, the web UI's backend side is JavaScript, and the server side backend side that actually that engine of a web server, like, right? And we're coding it from PHP, and I'll be doing that PHP basic PHP tutorial. Also I'm beginner to that PHP side, but I can do something from that PHP and stuff, right? And then I can make you another tutorial in another day about that PHP. Today I'm gonna make you a simple web UI, that means a form, right? Form means that we are filling our details like Facebook login page, like this, and just we are creating a web UI using HTML and CSS today. Just I'm gonna do that for practically without you describing and things from that, right? Okay, now first of all we have to install some kind of coding application, that means a code. I use that Visual Studio Code for that. I prefer that using that Visual Studio Code. It's a very best code, the text editor for developing and things, right? And we had to first put the HTML tag into there, right? And I don't know, first of all we had to save that file, otherwise you won't get any suggestions and like features if you're using that code editors, right? I'm gonna save it, and just I'm saving it in the C drive and RAM64 www, and I'm creating a folder for my text purposes, right? And I'm naming it test. Yeah, I'm just it's going, and just test, and I'm with that test, right? Test, right? Okay. And there I've been naming that my HTML file, giving that example example.html, right? Okay, good. Now it's saved. Now it's giving suggestion because that text editor needs to get our suggestions according to the file extension that we are saving that file from, right? If we are saving that file with extension of HTML, they are using predictions and suggestions according to HTML language. And if you're using that file according to Python py extension, they're giving out suggestions according to the Python language, and that's like this, right? Okay, HTML is open. Now I'm gonna open it again because it's very easy to, because giving the close tags also, right? Okay, HTML, the basic structure, root, the root tag, root element of a web page, that means HTML, right? And again we have to build our which is the head, right? And head, and after the head, and we are creating that body tag here, and body tag, right? And inside that body, and first of all we have to define what are we making for that body. We are making a form here, so we had to open a form tag here, and this is form, right? And form means that we're just making a form out there, and just be showing you some kind of form which I'm saying that okay, that I'm which one, and the bit result, right? And result bit, yeah, and this is some kind of form there, right? And it's my result and a bachelor of bit and the results, and this is the form. We had to input our bit index number and the password, and we can submit, then we read it to our result sheet of the exam, and that this way make it very proper example for a form. And we are creating a form like this, actually very close to this, right? Okay, and then I had to build this, right? In form, and just I'm opening a field set here. I'm showing what's called from field set. Okay, field set, right? Good. Field set field set means there is square that are caging that our form fields and just text field and every labels. We are caging that from there is square that is called the field set. I'll be showing that after unit test of my implementation of website. And we do add labels here, right? And label, and first label is just for example we are creating a student registration form for a company or just a school or institute, I don't know. And label, we have to inform that name, right? And name, and we are giving a space and a colon, and name, and label close. Now just a label should be created here. Just let's check about what I'm creating for. And I will be saving that file, and I will going to that directory where that I'm saving my file, and it's www and test, right? Test their example directory, and I'm double clicking out that, yeah. And this is my first label here, and it's just name and just label, and outer border is here, and just but the text field is missing here because we haven't coded it here. And there yeah, right, okay. And we are opening a text input type here, right? Input and type we are giving as text because we are putting text here, and text here, and between the label clause and input type with text, right? Just for enough for now. But we had to add some breaks here, and I'm putting 2 breaks because otherwise that the label tag is that means that a block, not a block element, is an inline element, so it will take it won't take the total width of the web page, and just after you, if you enter another label to after that label, and it will be just it will be that inputting parallel to that label, and it's not suitable for a form. Just I use breaks here, and I'm copying that total code line here, and I just pasting, right? And the second label should be name, and that a we don't want age, right? And we're using NIC there, that national identification card, right? And the type is text also, and we are copying it again there, and NIC, and the mobile number of the student. And first and next we had to choose the gender of that person that we are importing to our database, and I'm giving the name for gender, right? But in the gender, and we don't have, it's very complex if you are importing our gender as male or female, just typing like a text here. Just because of that we're using a select, that means a radio button selection or just drop down selection to do that. And label here, just I'm giving up that input type here, and right, and I'm just, we have to be very careful about it, right? Okay, that I'm opening a select tag here, and we in the select we had to open options, right? And which options we should select from here. And the option I got some mistake here, that we had to put options, not instead of option, right? We had to put the option. Oh, what's going on? And option, I'm getting mistake, right? Okay, option, right? And the option 1 is just male, and we had to add another option here, just and just I'll be putting it as right, and inside there I have to select the code line. Where should I get? Yeah, okay. And the second option is female. I've been importing. Okay, and just it's now totally clear what I'm going to be done, and just I have to put that field. Yeah, now it's very clear. There, and I will give it out. Okay, now it's very clear, and the select and the option and the option 2, and perfect, right? Like this. And the option 1 is male, option 1 is 2. Now we have to pass those text field data to the PHP file to with the connect with the database. We'll do it later. That's we are creating a UI, the front end of here, and just don't think about that, right? And the female and the male. Okay, that's enough. Now the forms text fields and labels are now okay, but we had to put buttons here, the submit button and the clear button, like this, right? And just after that field set, no, I've been importing those buttons inside the field set, right? And then there I'll be importing buttons here, and I'll be putting button type, and the button type I'm giving the submit as submit here, and this is a button close, and the labels are created and options, and just I think it should be more configured, and I'll be giving the tab here. Okay, and the option tag, closing tag, and like this, because we had to very clear that we had to make clear about our code lines, otherwise we have to be readability will be lost, then we can be able to do anything without readability, right? Okay, option 1, option 2 female, and select is close. Now button type submit and button close. Now you had to input the button label here between that button tags, close tags, and between those, right? And we are importing that register or that save the record is save, right? And we had to put another button here. I'm putting it as not submit, it's like I think it's clear or reset, right? Yeah, reset button. And I've been giving the label as clear there, right? Clear, good. Okay, now field set is good, and just I'm giving a legend here. What do you mean by legend? And I'll be showing, right? And the legend is just the name of the square which are caging our field from, and that is called legend, and we are giving a legend that a student registration form, student registration form, like this. Okay, it's good. And I'll be checking about unit test here and opening that, and this. Okay, good. Nice. So and this is the legend, and this is called the field set that cage our form tags and everything, every stuff from that cage, that is board add and border, and just we are calling this as the field set, like, and this is called as legend. Legend is that the topic of that field set, right? And there's labels here, and the text fields, and the selection tags there. There's gender. I mean, using that option here, no, that with selection options, there's I put male and female here, and just save for the submission of the form data to the database, and just clear to reset the forms data. And it's not very suitable here, right? Because we had to put the save and clear buttons downside from there, and we are putting breaks between that buttons there after the selection tag, that for the clearness of our view, we are see, right? And another we are here. Now 2 breaks. Okay, good. Now I have to test that, right? Okay, the buttons put under that gender selection, and it's good. And just it's very ugly, you know. Just this is pure HTML, the native HTML. We call this native HTML, but this can be styles using CSS and also using Bootstrap. But in that tutorial, I don't give it the knowledge about Bootstrap like this. Just I'll be importing some kind of small and basic CSS and stuff to beautify this form. Okay, and just what should I do now? Okay, I've been limiting that field set here to get rid of that face stage there, right? And storage, I'm giving the field set attribute here, field set, and I'm giving that is style. I'm giving this style tag here, and this style, and the width, and I'm giving the width and the width, and I can give it from the pixels. I using pixel, right? And the pixel I'm giving that actually predictions, right? My screen resolution is goes up to 1980. That means for K, I think 1K, just 1080p, and 1984 just my page was over from there. And this can I give a percentage here? And I'll give a percentage, very reliable, I think. Can't use it. And particularly, yeah, and I'll be giving at about 30% here, right? We're testing that. Yeah, it's limited here, it's not enough, and just we want to reduce it from another, I think 10, even 25. No, I don't think. And it's 24, right? And now it's not enough yet, and I'll be giving 18, right? Okay. Oh shit, it got bad, and just not enough. 20 like this. Maybe testing. No, still not. And 23. I think something went wrong. What's going on? I don't know. And the face width, and goes up to 30 again. We are putting 30 and 30 pixels here. I'll be saving that page and just refreshing. And what's going on? I can't. I know its attributes haven't changed. and the style width, yeah, I have deleted the percentage mark here, this I didn't put yeah, that's my mistake, right? And 20 I'll be giving, and there, right. I know it's somewhat okay, but doesn't matter. And but you know that there's bootstrap, and with bootstrap we can divide our, we can that basically divide our web page into 12 blocks. You know that it's called I don't know that called name, this is right, what is called the grid system, right? Actually it's called a bootstrap grid system, and we can do a lot of things using that grid system here, but I don't use at the moment because I'm not doing any kind of tutorial using that bootstrap. I'll be giving it another day. And this is the basic form creation from HTML and pure HTML, that is called native HTML and native CSS, just like very small and not very complex things, right? Now I've been importing some kind of CSS, very small CSS there. Now if you want to change your button styles, just think that what you want and whatever you want to do, and just you have to follow the things to do those, right? Then all the buttons actually in the conceptual side, you don't have to put buttons, different buttons in the same form, no. Then I'll be giving that my selecting my buttons, all those buttons also I can select a class, the tag selector here. I can select those buttons using a tag selector, and just I can effect my CSS attributes to that paragraph. That means tag selector here, and just I can do those. First of all, we had to write our style file, CSS file, and I'm using internal method here, and style tag, right? Okay, between the style tag I can write down CSS commands here. I'll be catching that button times here, and I'll be catching the tag selector method. With taking off the tag selector method, just we don't have to use any symbol here. Just we can type our tag and button like this, and we will declare what you're using that our CSS for. And the button, we are open the curly bracket here. Just inside this we're using our CSS, internal CSS files, right? Okay, I had to change my button style, and I'll be changing my bow button. Which kind of attribute we have to change? We have to think that color, or what are you using, that border type, right? Border, right? We can go time for that selectors here, and start with style and the color and the radius. I'm giving you a radius, right? And we are giving a round style for that radius, right? And I'll be giving it from pixels, right? And I don't think how can I get it from pixels, but doesn't matter, we will check. And I don't know everything in that, but we have to check what's going on. And I'll be giving 19 pixels here. 29 is too much, I think. 10 pixels here. We can be saving that, and I'll be checking what's going on with the buttons. Oh yeah, it happened, and the style of the buttons have been changed. Can you see that? There, save and clear is rounded, and just CSS applied here. It doesn't matter. And now we can also divide. That means we can separate those command from semicolons here, and are being again entering some kind of another CSS here. And the color, that means actually color, and there are different colors, and I'll be using a suitable color for a submit button here. And I can use my submit button color as a green one, right? It's good, no? And I'll be choosing yeah. I think it's good for use that lime green, and I'll be using lime green. And I will saving and just checking out what's going on. Oh, it's clear, but I don't think it's a very basic and just like a preschool thing, right? It doesn't matter. Even if you can try this and going with this, right? Now the front end is designed, but it's not useful for anyone because it's not working. And we have to give this field data to a PHP file, the personal homepage file, and using different values that we are importing to that text field here. And for the name field, NIC field, and a mobile field, we are importing different data here, and just we are selecting male or female here and just giving that self, right? And we had to add some attributes inside there, and just we are submitting the form here. You have to think what we are submitting. We are submitting a form here, just we are selecting form tag here, and the form we had to select which method that we are passing our data from. There are two methods I'm showing you, and method and the method. And in there I'm using to my prototyping and educational purpose for you. I'm using get method because if you're choosing that get method, and that we are opening that I will showing you after this get method. And just again we had to select which PHP file that we are passing this data into, and the attribute is called action, and action is maybe equal to example x.php, right? Actually there's no PHP like x.php that I'm giving as an example, doesn't matter. Okay, now that form will be submitted. If you are clicking that submit button here, that the form will be submitted using that get method and with the to the x.php file from that field there. And get method, I'll be showing you what's going on the get method. And the label now legend storage, right? It doesn't matter. And the label name, and that for the label input type here, and in the input type, and we want to say that name attribute, and the name attribute, and we want to give some specified name for that, for the input field that we are using, that we are conceptually using for. And actually for the label here, no, that label we are using for that, I'll be giving that name. I'll be using capital name, otherwise we'll be changing there. And for the NIC field, I'll be giving name attribute also for here, and just name and the NIC from the capital letters, doesn't matter, and the name again for that field. And it's for mobile, and just I'll be typing mobile here as names, and the gender, and the label gender, and label is doesn't matter. Select, we had to select which kind of and select, right? And select name, also the name as gender, and gender here. And that when you are submitting that form, that gender field will be passing with gender equals to male or female, like this, and the select name is gender, and gender equals that we are giving values for the options, and option 1 value equals to male. So the database will be updated with the field that the field of gender with that male. If you are selecting our drop down list from the male selection here, and the value again value, and the second one is female, just female one. And I'll be giving that not capital male according to my regulations here that I'm using for that. And female also I'm giving capital here. Okay, now it will be parsing using get method and using male and female and this values. And let's check it out, and I'll be refreshing. Okay, and the name we are giving that ABC, and the NIC 1234, and the mobile 324321, and I'll be selecting female, and I give it save. Yeah, the file is not found error occurred because that we don't have import any kind of PHP file here. No, that's the reason that we had that file was not found came here. And you see that I used the get method here, and the get I used get method here, and because of the get method, and all of the data will be passed with that URL bar here in the URL bar in the browser, and it will be passed using that we use name as name as nic, name as mobile, like this, and there the data will be passed name equals to abc, nic and nic equals to 1234, and mobile equals to 4321, and gender equals to female, that we have selected female here, and all of our attributes and see HTML and the things are working perfectly. And just the thing is, now we have to catch those details from a PHP file with that with that application server here. With the PHP file we coded here, and we have to turn on Apache servers, and with that Apache server they'll be able to communicate with the application server and basically the PHP file. And I'll be showing how to code PHP later, not at this time. And you see if that we used get method, then that type from next to that question mark, it's called query string, and in the get method data will be passed in that query string in the URL of your browser here, and it's good. Now all the data has been passed, and I will checking again the code, and I didn't import any kind of style here, just going back, and this is the basic and just not very beautiful one. And we can import Bootstrap here and just select different very beautiful things, beautiful UI designs for web design interfaces. Okay, and now I'll be showing that I'll be showing that I have shown you that the tag selector here. And as the basic learning things, I'll be showing you how to use ID selectors here. Just if I want to change my name attribute, the name field especially that we want to change, we giving that label ID here, and ID equals that L1 are we using, and from the L1 in this style, and we can catch those ID selectors, and we can edit the things using the ID selectors here. And for ID selection we'll be using a hash mark, that square mark, and open curly brackets, and it's square which ID that we are editing for. I'm giving the L1, and the L1 ID, that that ID of L1, that I'll be giving that ID for end tag, I don't know, and I'll be giving that in the label ID now. That's then the label 1 name should be changed according to my change here. Okay, and ID L1 I'll be changing the color for my prototyping purposes here, and I'll be changing color and the color, and I'll be giving maroon here, right? And the maroon has been given, and then that label name should be changed into color to maroon here. Now I'll be checking here, and it's changed, but you can't see because of that impossibility of seeing the color. We will be using another color, otherwise you won't see that color has been changed. And there I can use which one, and this red and the red purple kin, I don't know, and we can use here, there, and it's changed here. You see that it's changed, right? Okay, and this is the basic programming knowledge of coding HTML here, and there are a lot to do, there are a lot of things to do, a lot of things we can do with CSS and using Bootstrap files here. Bootstrap means actually Bootstrap is also an external CSS file that we are linking, and just it's a framework, and that framework they've been coded different CSS. Actually they are native CSS they be coded here, but according to some kind of rule and discipline set, they have been called in some CSS files, and we have a documentation of Bootstrap, and we can use that documentation and refer those, and just we can get different style things actually happening to forms, buttons, and everything in the web page. And we can choose those actually they be giving they be considering about divisions, that div tags. We want to add div tags, and div class equals to form btn primary like this, and then it will be link into that Bootstrap file, and they be searching for that btn class here, and there be declaration there, and they be updated the buttons too like this, right? And this is the basic thing. Just in the next one, I'll be showing how to beautify this using Bootstrap. And again, the next one, I'll be showing you how to get this how to pass this data to a PHP file, and we have to learn the PHP codings here. And until lastly, finally, we had to pass those data directly to a database, that MySQL database that I'm using for PHP MySQL, and like this, and to a database like this. We want to pass our data to a table in a MySQL database. And it's enough for today, right? Just get in your mind and just do things and do coding, do things, and otherwise you won't be able to code here if you don't just imagination everywhere. Just you had code. Until you code, you won't get what's going on. Just if you're getting code, just you'll be very easy to catch up these things, right? Okay, bye guys, right?